John Wayne Gacy was pronounced dead at 12:58 a.m.
He got a much easier death than any of his victims. In my opinion, he got an easier death than he deserved. But the important thing is that he paid for his crimes with his life.
Leaving the prison and looking back, knowing I'd never see him again, was really, really hard. The whole situation was a nightmare. You could hear a lot of the chanting of people that had already gathered at the prison. And I happened to see one of the interviews taking place, and I saw it on the news that night, and it was one of the prosecutors saying that it was the greatest day in the world, and it was really one of the worst days in the world for me. After John's execution, there was no one that ever called me to say, "I'm sorry for your loss."
Did you spend the last day before he was executed with John Wayne Gacy?
I did. And
what is that like? Or what was that like?
You know, it was like he was at peace about it. I had said to him, you know, I said, "You'll never walk out of prison, never." And he said, "If I have to live in prison for the rest of my life, I'd rather be dead."
So when was this picture taken?
This was hours before he was transferred.
To be executed?
Yes. And a lot of people would probably think, looking at that photo, that, you know, how could you be hugging him or whatever, but he was my brother. You know, I didn't ever know the evil part of him.
Do you think differently about him now?
I don't like that part of him. I hate that part of him. And I had always said to my husband and my family that if any appeal ever worked, I'd see to it that he never walked the face of the earth again.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to any of the victims' families?
No, the attorneys wouldn't allow us to. They said that it's like admitting that that he is guilty.
Is that one of the things you regret?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I understand you just told your boss last week that who your brother was.
I did. See, the name Gacy has been buried. My sister has passed away a few years ago. Her husband wouldn't even use her maiden name on her death certificate. I've never given my maiden name out. The people, my neighbors, are now, if they watch Oprah, are going to find out who I really am. After 31 years of living in a closet, not being able to talk about John or anybody, and there was a couple of times I haven't even told anybody I had a brother, because I didn't want that part of my life known. I wanted my children to have a normal life, my grandchildren to have a normal life, and you can't have that.
What's the last thing your brother said to you or you said to him?
I told him I loved him, and I told him that I forgave him for the stuff that he, not the crime, I could never forget the crime, but for what we were put through.